What's up, everybody? Just wanted to do a quick video on how to change your patterns for each of the different modules or different wiring for a Liberty light bar. So today here I've got basically the manufacturer specs on what typically comes standard on the Liberty light bar. So obviously out of the light bar you have two different wires coming out. You'll have your one main wire coming in that has all these different color fun-filled wires that go to the board that sets up different modules or different commands. And then you got your second main wire coming in that does strictly power right to your actual board. So what I wanted to show you guys real quick, because I've had numerous questions asking me, hey, how do I change the patterns of my modules, or how do I synchronize my entire light bar? Very simple, and I'm going to show you all that today. So what I want to do is show you this. I'm going to I've got this saved in a PDF because when I got this bar, I didn't have any of this paperwork, any of this information, but I was able to find it through the Whelen website. So I've got it saved in the description. Hopefully it shows up for you. If not, shoot me a message and I'll email it over to you. Or take a screenshot, whichever works easier. So on the control cable, these are the different wire colors and what they control. So obviously the green wire would control my front corner LEDs, blue wire, rear corner, blah, 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 blah. Obviously you can read all that, not a big deal. That all corresponds to the wire loom that you have down here. Now bear in mind my mess, because again, this is just set up for temporary. I just finished repairing this board and getting the light bar and everything up and running. And again, I also apologize for any shakiness, so if anybody gets nauseous, I am using my phone to do this quick recording. So these are the different patterns that you can select from based on what module or the location of the module. So obviously we've got our front corner, rear corner, outbound, outboard, inboard, and centered. So they have 10 different patterns that they can choose from, along with your front, outboard, inboard, and centers. They have 12 patterns that you can select from. Your takedown and alleys have 4 different patterns, along with your traffic advisor sequence. If you have the wiring set up to do the traffic advisor, that will have 4 different patterns that you can choose from there. Now, most of these light bars, at least most of the ones that I've encountered, all the wires come in, typically will have these 2 wires here, your white green and your white yellow wires. These are for your traffic advisor. Now, if you do not have the rear wiring harness hooked up to the board and then hooked up to each individual module, you may notice yours does not work. If you have just the front wiring harness, that's all you're going to get. You're just going to get just your front modules, your takedowns, your controls of the alleys. If you have these modules set up, but you don't have this rear wiring harness, then odds are you probably have these running on a separate switch. But that's another video later on. I used to have one of those and pain in the butt. Now, you're also going to notice this little guy right here, my little jumper wire. This light bar did not come with this wire hooked up. I don't believe most of them do have them hooked up. This is for your synchronization, or I call it synchronization, but I don't know the actual term to it, so my apologies. But it's basically, so if I fire up this light bar now, each module is flashing at its own particular pattern. But what I did is I put this little extra switch on my switch box, so when I activated that activates my dimming function, but I mainly wanted to use it for this function here, where everything's random. Now I've just activated this little wire, my sync wire, so that way everything can flash left and right, instead of just doing, it kind of looks left and right, almost synchronized, but each module is on its own little pattern. So that's kind of what this wire is here. So if you're looking at that, and you're looking at your board, and you're wanting to go, hey, I want to activate my left and right synchronizations, and actually this might be better shown in the rear, so you can kind of see how everything just kind of flashes randomly. Well, once I get that wire activated, now it's going left, right, left, right. So that's what this little socket port does in here. So if you have a spare wire like me, I didn't have anything hooked up and I wasn't utilizing my green and black wire. So I just put a quick little connector on it and hooked it right into that little port there. Because like I said, these two will do your left, right, and split traffic advisor. And this will do activate your synchronization. So that's how you can get your synchronization done. And again, you might want to look at your light bar just to be 100% sure, but everything else in here is kind of a mess. So don't worry too much about that. Let's get this bad boy shut down. So what we're mainly going to be focusing on is how to change patterns for each of the modules, or if you want to change the pattern to your takedowns instead of, being a simple single flash alternate, you can do a 240 alternate flash, a 120 double alternate, single 240 simultaneous, or double flash. You can change how the takedowns and alleys operate during flashing, as far as probably code 3. You can change up how the traffic advisors look. So if I activated my traffic advisor, it's going to do light the whole thing. And if I wanted to change it, I can change that pattern, and here's how to do that. So when you want to activate your scan lock, right out the gate, it's going to tell you your scan lock is your white and violet wire. So what that wire will look like is going to be this little guy down here. See how it's all mainly white and has that little stripe of violet or purple? All you really have to do is whatever module or whatever wire you're wanting to change the pattern, have that wire activated, have 12 volt DC going into it, powering it on, just like I have here for the traffic advisor. And then all you have to do is take your scan lock wire and briefly touch it for less than a second. So once you do that, you can now go in and double check which module. So now before, instead of it lighting, keeping everything lit up at once until it got to the very last module and then shut everything down and then redid it, now it's changed it to where it's going all the way across and then it brings the end back. So that's another pattern you can do. You go in, do the same thing, take a white violet wire with whatever wire you want active to be changed as far as whatever pattern, do the same thing. Less than a second. And now you should have a different pattern to it. So, let's see if I can get this. I can do it at the same time. I apologize if this is brightening. So, same thing, scan lock wire, less than a second. And now it goes through a little quicker, but you got your pattern changed. Now, with the traffic advisors, you've only got 4 different patterns you can choose from. So that's another pattern that you can select. Now, if you want to default, so let's say you get your patterns figured out, or you're not sure, you're not sure which pattern you're on directly. Let's say your module's maybe on 6, but you're not 100% sure. You want to put it back on number 1 because you want to start on number 1 and work your way down and see which looks good. You can default the module and put it back on 1. All you have to do is, instead of having the particular module or the particular, like in my case, the traffic advisor, have everything powered off, you apply your voltage to your scan lock wire first while activating whatever one or whichever modules you want to default. So in this case, we're going to activate both of them at the same time. And once again, I apologize, but this is just kind of a spur of the moment kind of test. So once you have the light bar is completely powered off, scan lock's going to get the electricity or the voltage at the same time. So once you do that, power up that particular module and then just disconnect the scan lock. And now I'm set back to pattern number 1. So now I can start scrolling through if I wanted to, for my traffic advisor, sequence to solid, and I can go sequence on, sequence off, 1 lamp triple, 2 lamp triple, and I can go from there and see which pattern that I like using, again, the scanlock white violet. So, and this will go through, and I'll show you this, so that way if you guys want to take a screenshot on your phone, or if you want to just look, if you're looking on your computer watching this video, you can do print screen, go to Paint, Word document, paste it, and you'll be able to read it. But like I said, I'm going to try to get the PDF downloaded to your to the description below. So, scanlock is your white violet wire to cycle forward, activate whatever module that you want, and then activate the 12 volts to the scanlock wire. That'll start changing your pattern. Once you have everything, and like I said, if you want to default it, you can turn off the entire light bar, put your volts to the scanlock wire first, then turn on the appropriate module or function, and now, boom, it's back to square one. It's at number 1, depending on which one you're using or which one you're trying to default. So, hope that helps out for everybody as far as using your scanlocks, changing the patterns. You can even do the same thing if you have the light bar in my case, the sync mode. So there's a few different patterns that you can select on that for the left and right style sync. So you can do the scan lock on this activation as well and see what that looks like. So hope that was helpful for everybody. Let me know if you guys have any concerns or any other questions, and if need be, I'll make another video and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot.